Hi, welcome to the AquaStax Hour with me, Long Steve, on a Tuesday evening. 5 minutes late today. I do apologise for that. Had a bit of a panic, as I always do this time of the evening. Had a busy day, rushing around, getting stuff ready, and I forgot to power on my second Mac, which I use for streaming, and not the one I'm actually working on that you can see, but another one that I have which relays the stream off to Live Coding TV. So there was me, all ready to go, click the stream button, and it said connecting, and I couldn't connect. And then finally, I realized what's going on. Stop obs, power the Mac on, and we can ready to start. And you may notice a new addition to me today. My hat, my hat of feedback or hat of streaming. At the moment, it is not hooked into my feedback system, but it's been sitting on my desk for a little while. And today, it's now on my head. I finished the specific wrapping of the LEDs around the hat. Oh, hi, Live Coding TV. Good to see you. I'm just describing my hat. Let me give it a quick go. I can't actually see it very easily. I have to peer off to the side to look at my monitor window where my obs is streaming. But if I type in hat into my command window, Cylon, it should do the sweeping left and right. If you remember the old 1980s or 1970s even Battlestar Galactica TV series. And there are many other things the hat does. Let's have a rainbow color. Thing, hat, rainbow. See what it does. Yeah, there we go. Right. I'll still have to get the level sorted out because I can't see what's going on because the hat's now on my head. But I think it's looking pretty good actually. It's not doing too badly there. Right. Now let's jump into my normal game development scenario. Oh, I just realized starting everything up quickly, I haven't left my windows floating on top of the stream just so I can see what's going on. Keep afloat. I have a couple of hidden windows behind the camera views as well, extra little terminals that show me what's going on, and also they're there to remind me that I can't put things on the screen behind those spaces, or else you won't be able to see what's going on. Right, let's kick off. Let's see where we were. I did a pretty long stream last, what was it, last Thursday, I think it was? Yeah. So we, I ended up with fixing the bugs, at least I hope I was fixing the bugs, where my blocks weren't sliding sideways into place. That's right. I spent a lot of time carefully figuring out why that was going on, and I think we fixed it. I'll just fire up Chrome and have a quick look at the game. Where are we? There we go. So my reminder to myself was fix the blocks sliding sideways into place. Have now worked out a solution for this using left and right key pressed and stored previous frame values. Could move left, could move right, hopefully fix. Yeah, so we might give that a little bit of a try today. Then there's some other things I listed to do. We've got a couple of warnings from JS Hint as well. I shall fix those straight away in a second. And then I might just have a think about what I want to do next. I did remember seeing, very briefly, one bug where the rotation of a block caused it to jump into place. Which was rather odd. I'm just going to shuffle my cable. I've got my hat is attached to a little box that's around my sort of waist at the moment, in my pocket, and that's got the microcontroller in it that handles the lights and colours, and it's like shuffling around behind my shoulder. I haven't quite got the routing of cables correct done back. I should actually stick it inside my t-shirt. I was also going to change my t-shirt today as well, but I didn't have time, so I left this dark one on. Usually I like to put a lighter shirt on because it's bit dark in my room here in the evenings. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at what I was going to do. All the boilerplate code for indicators using draw node in game, lots of copy and paste that. Okay, yeah, so I remember looking at, where was I? I was probably in game. Lots of copying and pasting. We can probably do something about that. Here it is, yeah, lots of lines of code that are all the same. Move the block movement functions out of game update. Yes, so refactor that. Rename block and grid functions that only operate on single cells. So that was something which I have been thinking about doing for a while, but it hasn't really come to be a problem yet, so I might not bother with that. Let's just have a look at, well, that's right, we put these little indicators in, I remember doing that now, and they should indicate whether or not you can or can't go left or right. There's also little flashing arrows that tell me or you what key is being pressed, but it's not quite what key is being pressed, it's what states the key pressed is going to sort of return to the game code, or it could be anything actually, but the particular states were what we used. Yeah, so now I can hold the keys down and things will slot into place. Let's make a little slot about the size of 2 blocks high. So I'm holding the left key down and pop, it goes into place. So I'm pretty happy that all of that now works rather nicely. But I'm going to have a quick look for this rotating bug that I spotted the other day, then fix up the things I've got in my list, and maybe if there's time after that, we'll see what I can start on next. There's 2 options. One is the block breaking, and another is the, how am I saying there's another one? Another one is the clustering of blocks together. Well, actually, no, the clustering's got to come first, hasn't it? I'm just thinking out aloud here. I haven't really even planned this yet. So the clustering of colored blocks needs to come first, because that will then allow us to, well, allow me to write the code to break those clusters. At the moment, when a pointy block like this green one here lands on this cluster of colored purple blocks, it should break them all in one go. But there isn't any code yet which can group them together in a cluster. When there's that, we can break that cluster, get rid of them, and then we can start doing the somewhat complicated, I seem to remember, falling code, which loops over all these clusters that are potentially free floating in midair at that point. If I went and, it's difficult to see now, but if I broke that purple cluster, some of these ones would be floating in midair and they'd have to drop down. Some of them, if they were grouped together in colors, wouldn't fall. So we're going to do that. So I think possibly the clustering is next, after my initial look at, let's write some code first. I don't want to spend too long looking for bugs. What I'm going to do is, after I've had a cough, I will just do some of this tidy up that I had already mentioned. Let me mute myself. Okay, right, we're back in. I'm looking at my mic levels are a bit higher than they usually are. I hope I'm not too loud. If anybody comes in and I'm too loud, let me know. I will drop things down a little bit. I wonder if that's made a difference. Am I drinking tea as well and slurping? Also, let's just do a quick reload of my live coding page here. I want to see if anybody's actually online. Oh, there's a picture of me. Yep, I'm definitely online. Great. Right, I can do that. Bring back the chat window. So let's get on with it. Let's fix these JS hint issues first. There's a nice simple one. Double equals instead of triple equals. That's just looking for booleans, isn't it? On a fast dy equals, that's just comparing 2 floats. Then we've got a missing semicolon, another trivial one. Oh, that was a temporary variable allocation. And then fast dy is used out of scope. What is this? A fast dy? I allocate fast dy up in here, don't I? I should, in theory, stick it outside that, even though ES5 that I'm using isn't scoped. JS is warning me of that. New block position, I could just do fast dy there, couldn't I? So save that. Right, game.js reloaded, no JS hint errors, good. Let's go and have a look now. So let's look at the boilerplate indicators that I was doing. These are quite useful, and there might be scope for me to reuse them. I'm going to do on the Alt C to bring up Chrome, yes. Might be scope for me to reuse them in other areas. So they're not particularly well documented at the moment in terms of on the screen, so I can't remember what the actual indicators meant. Something to do with whether or not it can or can't slide left or right, isn't it? But and then the arrow keys, they're not actually indicating that the keys are held down, they're doing something else. So do I leave them or do I just get rid of them? Maybe I think knocking up that code quite quickly is simple enough that I can just get rid of these indicator codes now that I understand what's going on with the key pressing. Let's just try my old Mac keyboard here. My newer Mac keyboard, I think. Yes, I'm holding down the keys on my wireless keyboard that's actually attached directly to the Mac. then I suppose I could leave the key press indicators in. That might be useful for streaming purposes so that people on the stream can see whether I'm holding the keys down or not. Yeah, that might be useful, but I'll get rid of those can move left or right ones, I think. They're probably not useful. We've got collision indicators, variable indicators. Were they the ones that I was using? Yeah, these are the circles, aren't they? Yeah, we'll get rid of these. So let's just get rid of variable indicators. Okay, get over there. Variable. Okay, they're all gone, right. Now get rid of the declaration at the top. So, no circles now. And I quite like these key press. At the moment they're flashing because I can't remember why they're flashing. What are they indicating? Let's have a look. They're indicating that invisible. So they're indicating whether, so up is will rotate, down is D fast drop, and DX and DX is left or right. So they're indicating whether or not the actual movement logic or rotate logic or drop logic in the code is triggered, which is why if I hold down, the down arrow is on solidly, but the other ones flash because they flash in time with the rotation and movement detail. I say details, the timing that we put in there. Where's my config? Here we go. Yeah, we put in various key delay rates, didn't we? Key delay milliseconds, 100 milliseconds, so 10 times a second. So that should be flashing at 10 times a second. If I bump this up to 500, which is half a second, then it should flash every half a second, yes. But it only flashes for one frame, and that's the frame that the movement is actually triggered on. It's a little bit jittery. I wonder why that is. Is it because it's jumping more than one frame at a time sometimes? Don't know. I'm not going to worry about that because that's a contrived test. I'm going to put that back to 100. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change these indicators so that they indicate the actual keys pressed states. So we can do that right at the top of the game loop, can't we? Yes. Move, action triggers, I'll stick them in here. And set visible, what am I doing? Up is rotate. Down is drop pressed. I'm using the self.key map. Do I care about that? Key indicators. Self.key press indicators. Yeah, then we map the keys to the. In fact, if I do that in here inside my key action function, I think this is where I originally wrote the bit of code. I can do self.key pressed. Is that key map indexed by code? It is. So key map is indexed by code. Key code, set visible pressed. So then I don't need those ones. So let's just see if. There we go. So I'm holding down the left, holding down the right, up, down. Multiple ones can be pressed at the same time. That's good. You can go left and up, and it rotates and moves. Right and up, rotates and moves. Down. Doesn't rotate and drop quickly. Actually, that's an interesting one. Or does it? Hang on. There we go. Yeah, it does rotate and drop quickly. Can I do 3 keys at once? Let's refresh that. I can do drop, rotate, and quickly in one go. Something overrides it. Rotate, move, and drop. No, it must be the rotate. Is it rotate? No, I can rotate and drop, but I can't. I can go left and drop, and right and drop, but I can't do rotate, left, and drop. So maybe 3 keys aren't dealable in the same game loop. 2 are, but not 3. I wonder why that is. So it's not even recognizing that the third one is pressed. I'm pressing left and right at the same time. If I press left and right at the same time, there it does. If I press up at the same time, the third key isn't triggered. I wonder if that could be any number of things. Let's just try on my real keyboard. There we go. It's a synergy thing. My keyboard sharing code. Oh, and there's that rotate bug. Might look at that in a minute. Right. So my keyboard sharing code or keyboard sharing program is doing something funny there. It probably only passes 2 key presses at once. I bet there's a configuration option for that. So on my real Mac keyboard, I can go. Let's go right down and we're fast rotating, moving, and all keys at once. What happens there? It rotates, moves one direction or another. I think one of the directions overrides the other, probably left. And there we go. Yeah. Whoa, lovely. Okay, so I'm going to leave those, but as I commented in my my reminders text file that I've called refactor.txt. I don't know why. I think that's just I think it's my catchphrase. I'll refactor that later. So I call it refactor.txt to tell me to do things later. And it's become my generic reminders file. So we will look at this code where I set up these indicators. Here we are. So we've got a bunch of key press indicators here. Well, let's see if we can't refactor this. For a start, we want to loop around and do four things, or loop 4 times, and then it looks like almost nothing changes except the positioning and the rotation. So what we can do is we can have, we've got the triangle there, that's constant, and we just rotate it through 90 degrees to display it at different angles. So let's just do a for var I equals hi Orkvasia, good to see you. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I hope the hat made some kind of flash or something when you arrived as well. I'm not paying attention to my hat anymore. Usually it's on the side of the desk next to me, but now it's on my head. Let's see. Do try out the hat commands in the chat window if you want to see the hat do anything interesting. So do I want I? Yeah, I will probably be good enough. I might as well create a var I up here. And the colors are all the same, aren't they? So each one of these is going to be self.keypressed indicators I is a polygon. And then we've got the X and Y. So we've got the offset, we've got 250, 300, 100, 150. 250, 300, that doesn't have a particularly convenient sequence. Something that I can multiply I by to just get that number. And the Y offset is 0, 100, 0, minus 100. One could simply, I'm just going to stick these in a little offsets array. Do it easy way. Offsets. So we've got X and Y offsets, and we've got minus 250, height divided by 2, will act as the base, and then 0. The next one down is going to be minus 300, with a height divided by 2, minus 100. The next one down will be minus 100, with a height divided by 2, which is 0. And the next one is minus 150, minus 100. And what I'll also do is add the rotations in next. So then we've got rotation of 0, then minus 300, minus 100, rotation of minus 90, looking at number 1, then rotation of 90 degrees, I'm looking at number 2 there, the last one, rotation of 180 probably, there it is, yes, right at the bottom there, 180. So the X position is worked out by indicators I.X with self.gamePanelX minus, that's going to be offsets I times 3, because they're all going to be I times 3 to index into the correct place. I times 3 plus offsets 0. Actually, it's offsets, it's going to be plus, isn't it? Yes. Plus offsets I times 3 plus 0. I'll actually put the plus 0 in there for clarity. Right, so the next one is going to be key press indicators Y, and that's going to be height divided by 2 plus offsets of I times 3 plus 1. That's the second one. So I times 3 is going to be 0 first, then it's going to be 3, and then it's going to be 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's going to be 6. Yep. So that's minus 3. So minus 250. The next one is 0. And the last one is the rotation, which we'll get from here. This is the ith one, and the rotation is offsets I times 3. I don't have to put brackets in, but makes it nice and clear. I times 3 plus 2. And then we want to do at child of I. So now we can get rid of all of this. Pretty sure I haven't missed anything else. That line's the same for all of them, isn't it? Yeah, oh, there's a bit of set of invisibility down the bottom now. I'm pretty sure things are invisible when you add them already. I can't remember. Oh, and I can do one other thing as well. Just in the next bit of code. So let's do this first. Set I false. And then we don't need those. And now what we can do is let's declare key map up here. So key press indicators. Oh, and actually we can do the new draw node in here as well. So key press indicators I equals new draw node. So key press indicators a key map, and we've got self.keymap. Right, no. I suppose I could do this, couldn't I? I'm not going to have to change everything that I've already just done. Well, let's put cc key up as the first one there. Actually, let's make this a nice little table as well. Then we've got cc key down, and we've got up left. These three right, the last three down. CC key dot down. Okay. Ooh, I simply Ronan, good to see you. Let's put that there. So now we've got to multiply all these by 4 because we got 4 entries in the array for every indicator. So we're going to do items 4, 4, 4, and the last one is here. It's going to be self.keymap, and it's going to be offsets I times 4 plus 3, and the index is going to be I. Right, it's quite a bit of code to fiddle around with in one go. Let's see if it works. Not miss any commas off. Oh, got 2 commas in there, but I just spotted that. Save. Let's see what. Oh, so it looks like JS hint might have a couple of issues. What's going on there? Excuse me. Calf expected to match from line 82. I'm on line 82 there, aren't I? J82. Ah, no, I tell you what, I missed. I made the wrong bracket there, didn't I? Right, so expected that instead of semicolon. What's that then? Not sure about that one. Missing semicolon is there. No, it's crashed. I probably got my syntax wrong. Can I not do that after an argument list? Doesn't help me, does it? It's definitely line 82 for I equals. Do I have to do that? Well, I equals 0, I less than y plus plus. Completely forgotten my JavaScript syntax. It's not just JavaScript syntax. It's basically any C-like language, isn't it? This is somewhat embarrassing. Got a trivial for loop, and I seem to have forgotten how to code it properly. Maybe you can't even do that in JavaScript. Let's just have a quick look. I must have used for loops in a bunch of places, surely. Yeah. I equals 0, I is less than something, I plus plus. I use it down there, don't I? So what did I get wrong here? I is already defined. Yeah, I know that. Is it this one? Have I missed something off here? Offsets. triangle. Did I miss a comma out? Nope, don't think so. Missing semicolon. Saw a bracket instead of semicolon. I wonder why. Oh, hi, Mark, 4700. Good to see you. Now I'm getting completely confused about how my for loop isn't working. I have no idea why. It's the end of a long day. I've been debugging some particularly nasty code today. It was multi-threaded code in a system which controls racing simulators. So I had to have multiple racing simulators connected to the server, and that requires my PC, my Mac, my laptop all running, all synchronized, starting a race, doing some stuff and seeing what was going wrong. And then debugging multi-threaded code is very difficult because if you break into it, everything stops, usually. That doesn't work right. And also if you try adding trace statements or logging into multi-threaded code, sometimes it can alter the timing very subtly so that the thing works properly. That's another really awkward thing to do. In the end, I did find it by sort of eyeballing and looking at log entries. Turns out I'd forgotten, or hadn't forgotten, but I'd missed off a shared memory unlock at a place where it should have been unlocked, which was causing all sorts of things to go wrong. So that was a long day of fixing things. So what did I do wrong with this for loop? If anyone can spot that, do let me know. See, missing expected brackets. Why did you expect a bracket there? Plus plus I, is that even a thing? Yeah, it should be. Oh, hi, Josh Simon, good to see you. I is less than 4. Plus plus I. Shouldn't matter which way it goes, does it? Let's find my other for loop. So here's a for loop. Here's one I did earlier in another bit of code. Let's copy and paste that up to here. All I want is I is less than 4. Nope, JS hint is still whinging. It must be something to do with offsets. Maybe it's the line before that. Let's comment that out, see what's going on. No, it's still missing. Is that a line? It's not a line at the end of the thing. Nope. Maybe we should have another, maybe if I have a different variable. Nope, it's completely wrong. Just put that there. So now it's okay. Offsets. Let's do this. I equals 0 while I is less than 4. Ooh, delivery doesn't like that at all. Okay, so have I put something in the wrong place? Now we're getting whinges about error up there. Have I done something completely bonkers and put a colon or a semicolon in the wrong place? Let's see what Chrome says. Sometimes a different debugger. Missing bracket after argument list, line 84. If I click on that, also it jumps to here. Ah, there we go. So my JS hint warnings were completely wrong. Well, not wrong, but they were just leading me down the completely wrong place. It was here. It's that bracket that doesn't match. There's nothing to match the set rotation close parameter list. Blimey. I'm going to do this for. Oh, actually, I'll just do this first. Trouble with coding at the end of a long day. Right. Now game.js is reloaded and it's happy. Still doesn't quite work, but unexpected token dot. What's going around there? What did I miss? text error going on. Expected token dot game.js line 107. So this is after my function definition. Let's put this back to a for loop, which should work. Did slick edit add an additional bracket in somewhere where I didn't expect it to? Okay, so JS hint is now happy, and Chrome is now happy as well. I bet it was just my fault. Doing great, bot. Thanks for responding to them. Just going to take my hat out, see if it still works. Let's have a sign on with a bit of blue, shall we? 0x RGB. There it goes. Yeah, you can just about see the blue color cycling my hat. Puzzle game rearranging the broken parts of code. Yeah, that's totally right. Right, so are my indicators working? Oh yeah, there they are. Left, the left one's not working, but the right one and the up one is. Okay, that's very interesting. Why is that going on then? So it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Got multiply by 4 and each of these, and then we want key map offsets. So key map is at the right place. Key map key code, yep, that gives us I. So why my left and right one's not working? 0, 1, and 2, that's the minus offset for the X, then the 1 is offset for the Y, and then the next one is the rotation. Yep, we've got up, left, down, and right. So how come my left and down don't work? So up is fine, right is fine, left and down don't work. So left and down are the, oh, I know what it is. I left that plus plus I, I was about to say left and down are the odd ones, actually the even ones, so 1 and 3, so no, the odd ones. But I noticed instantly that they were offset by 1. I thought, I wonder if it's going through the loop properly, and there is the glitch. So there we go, there's left and down, up and right. Excellent, so I should leave those in there for now. Let's just comment this as well. See, I could refactor this into another function now. Let's do that. Let's keep my constructor function nice and clean, and we will have one here. We'll do init indicate. Is it key indicators? Key press indicators. Yes. Init key press indicators. Careful with the syntax. It's basically a case of putting these in here. There we go. Let's make a small comment. Create draw node objects to show the up, down, left, and right key pressed states. And then let's call that in here somewhere, doesn't matter where, just before the key listener gets added. Broke something. Cannot read X of undefined. Did I forget to do self? Variable I. And I no longer need variable I up here, do I? Still complaining about that. X of undefined. UCC draw node. Of course I haven't done var self equals this. Then I need to add some custom rules into JS hint, if that's even possible. That just tells me whenever I add a method that doesn't have var self equals this. In fact, what was JS hint telling me? Oh yeah, it was warning me. So that's another thing I need to fix on slick edit, is the fact that it doesn't follow the bottom of my JS hint warnings log in this build window. It's a little awkward that Slickhead is a great tool and it does lots of things, and I've used it for many years. But it has a couple of little quirks, like it doesn't run its coloration commands on the build log until it expects a build to be a one-off command that finishes, whereas my build tool sits there and runs and never actually ends. So it never runs its command. So I don't get like colored red warnings and things like that, which would be nice. And also it doesn't seem to handle the fact that the thing never ends, and when it puts new lines out, like it did there, you can see the things hung off the bottom. I have to keep scrolling down. So, I mean, I've looked at many other editors over the years. Notepad++ is one I use a lot on Windows. I haven't looked in anger at Sublime Text. That's another one that it's not. It's a similar price. Sublime Text is Mac only, though, I think, unless I'm wrong on that. Does Sublime Text come with Windows and Linux versions? Let's look at it. I know Notepad++ is only Windows. Sublime Text. There we go. I think Sublime Text is multi-platform, isn't it? Download for OS X. Yes, it is multi-platform, so I could use that one. It's not too expensive either. I mean, what does it cost to buy? About $70. About the same price as SlickEdit. For a single platform license, SlickEdit is about the same price, but a multi-platform license is a lot more expensive. So that's something I could go into one day, but I've just come to use SlickEdit so often that I really enjoy it. The other thing it does really well is huge files. If you ever have a massive log file or a huge source code file, SlickEdit will load it no problems. Other things sometimes don't. So I just have another sip of tea there. Right, so a bit of refactoring there, so I'm happy with the key maps. You always see other things you can refactor, but I'm going to stick with that for now. The other thing I was going to do was have a look at my update function and decide to move a bunch of this code into a handle block dropping function in some way, because basically I've got update and it's huge. How many lines of code is it? Jump. I can use the jump. I can't actually quite see the number of lines. It's quite a lot, probably. No, let's look at this. Let's look at it. Info text is probably right at the bottom right underneath my chat window. Still a lot for one function. So let's see if we can move this. Actually, before I do that, I will commit my refactor of the indicators. Not all the way to GitHub, I'll just commit to my local repository. Then I'll squash the commits and upload them at the end. There we go. So commit. We refactor the key press indicators. Just local commit. Okay. So next thing to do. So almost all of this is handling key press. So we've got a bit of game update. We've got key pressed states. Do I want? I mean, I can refactor it into more than one function. That could be handle movement, handle rotate, and handle drop. Are they independent? Are they all together? Sideways test. The main bulk of it is that we've got, look at the key presses and set some variables based on what we're going to do. So if left and right pressed, rotate pressed, then we do look at the timings because we had the delays that we added, and then handle rotate, which in turn does a bit of calling of the collision test function. Then we do the drop, so that's to do with the dropping, and then we do the a little bit of fiddling to do with alignment of the block based on the grid cell, the snapping of the grid cells on horizontal, That's to make sure that things slot into gaps. And then we handle the left and right movement. Finally, we hit the bottom once it's stuck in place, and a bit of sliding goes on right. So it's kind of all, it's slightly logically separated, but I think it all kind of each bit relies on the other bits. So I'm definitely just going to make it easy for myself at the moment. Oh, hi Helga, good to see you. I'm just going to stick this into another function for now, and we'll call it move block, handle block movement, handle input. I suppose handle input, maybe. It's not necessarily handle input by itself. It's handle the block movement, isn't it? I'm going to call it handle block movement for now. So highlight collision, move block, new random block. Yeah, so move block was a lower level function. It's probably only called once, isn't it? Or is it called multiple times? Update the position. No, twice. So it could possibly be a function within our update or handle block movement function, whatever I'm going to call it. I'll put the highlight collision down below. So we want handle block movement. That'll do. I could pass the block in, but it's already stored in the object. Now my hope is I can just literally bung all of this as it is inside the block movement. The reason I'm doing this now is that the game update isn't just going to be block movement. That's been the focus for the last couple of months. But the next set of updates are going to probably be stack related. So they're going to be stack collapsing and clustering of blocks together. And then finally it's going to be the little Gumbler sprites and their movement and their climbing and pathfinding, and there's all sorts of interesting things they do, lots of animation and stuff there. So then there's the water. The water's a really simple bit of function that's tied into the Gumblers because they drown. So there's kind of 3.5 major chunks. So the block movement is the first major chunk. So let's just drop all of this. Can I see anything that doesn't need to go in here? Get the key press state. Yeah, we're dealing with that. Going to 3 monitors. Don't hurt your eyes. I'm getting pretty warm, I must admit. They're not modern monitors. They're old ones. The depth of about 2.5 inches deep. But they're 1920 by 1200. Nice, nice big ones. And I'm only focusing on one at the moment. Let's just see. It's not so much your eyes that hurt. It's your neck by turning left and right to look at the different things. Definitely can make your neck ache if you're not used to doing it. Oh, hi, AndrevDB. Good to see you. Or is it AndrevDB? I'm not sure. Right. Let's that shift. Okay, that's my block. So I'm going to drop all of this. Okay. Those frames per second, millis per update, frames per, I'm going to put those in as well. Everything is in there. Don't forget to do var self equals this. Right, there it is. The one bit that could be refactored is this last block of logic. So I wonder, sliding, is that's a sliding is logically a different state that the block is in, and I wonder if that's a better thing to have in a separate function as well. It's based mostly on bits of data that's stored within the block, but I do use the dx and dy variables. I wonder, as the last bit is if it's not sliding, we have a collision. No, it's kind of half sliding. It's still working out whether or not we slide. Finally, here's the bit where we can handle the braking block. Stick block into place. Maybe I'll leave that for now, but that's a candidate a bit later on, I think, for another refactor. I have to have something to refactor in the future. So now my update is self.handle block movement. This is still going to work. reference H is not defined. Blank H. Did I nick something that I shouldn't have? Ah, it's up here, isn't it? So that was me. I must have done two things. H is just the height, isn't it? So all I need there is cc.winsize.height. There it is. Let's just check JS hint before I go back into Chrome. Excellent. Now we're still working. I can still drop. Yeah, good. Right. Now, only got a few minutes left. I don't want to overrun too long today. I did an hour and 40 minutes last time, and that was quite enough. Let's just have I might have a quick look for the bug that I found earlier. So I've done the boilerplate indicators code, move the block movement function out, handle block move, yeah, did that. Still going to leave that in there because that's something that might happen later. To refactor, lower priority though, I'll enable it 99. And I think I'm okay with the moving left and right into place with little gaps, but investigate the bug where rotating a block will drop it into place overlapping an existing grid. Is it grid? Stack. Overlap existing stack elements. Right. What I'll do is also just commit this change. I'll do them both. Actually, no, yeah. No, tell a lie. I'm just going to do that one. Commit, move all the block handling logic into handle block. What do I call it? Handle block movement. Commit. Okay. Right. So a quick look at this bug. How am I going to find that? What happened was it was rotating. It was definitely rotating something, and it. Oh, there it goes. That's quite easy to reproduce. So what happened there then? Will this one do it? Faster. Oh, see, that stops rotating. Ah, okay, so that stopped rotating. But this one might not. Is it going to stop? I wonder if it was the points that were overlapping. Let's see. Now, what I want to do now is contrive two blocks to fall down that I want. So I have that first one, and I want the second one to be. See what happens. We do new block, and at some point, its new block gets called when the new random block passes in random tile number, but we actually want the second time through. We don't want a random block, but we want the tile num to be the triangle one, which was the last one in the list. It's number 7. So that's 6. So this will give me my default starting block, which is always this one. And then this one. No, I don't want that one. I wanted the triangles. Is that 7? Random tile number. Oh yeah. 4, 0. Oh, so they start at 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is actually 7. I thought they were indexed from 1. They weren't. They're indexed from 0. So it's actually tile number 7. Alright, so if I rotate that, I didn't do it that time. It's a specific timing. There it goes. So it's overlapping the it's overlapping the same way, isn't it? So there's a, I wonder if there's an edge case where that can happen. Oh, look at that. Right. Okay, let's think about this. What might it be doing? It's definitely, I think, the fact that it's the same triangle type. So that's a triangle type of and I'm not sure if you're War's evil or Walk evil. I'm not sure, but good to see you. Just want to hunt this bug down. So where's my block definitions gone? I had the tiles. Oh, nice little diagram. Here it is. So they're this type. They're type number 3. So that's a type number 3 triangle. And when this is pointing in the right direction, that's also a type number 3 triangle. They don't just sit over each other. No. Let's see if I can slide one in and have an overlap. See if it is specifically the rotate that's doing it. So if I hold the key down now, no, that didn't do anything. Interestingly as well, I wonder if I can get that rotate to do that. Oh yeah, they overlap. So when the triangles are the same, it looks like they might overlap. Okay, so how do I get this to be fixed? So the rotate function is here. Rotate the block through 90 degrees. And we've got potential new rotation and position. Call collide block. And while the collision is equal to 1 or 2, I must admit I can't remember what that means. We call it again. And if collision is 0, then we actually set that new position rotation. And then it carries on down to the rest of the code. At the bottom, that position gets set by somewhere where it's got stick block, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. It sets it in there. So I wonder if it's the fact that that collision is 1 or 2. So it's grid.collide block. So is that? Is that? I wonder if I actually, I know what I did. I changed my collide block function so that it returns axis or yes, it returns axis collision value ored. That's another thing I should do. I should probably refactor those so they're not global. Put them inside my AQ namespace as well. But I think it's probably all I need to do where it's returning 1 and 0 in certain scenarios now. It's got axis or slope collision, collide with triangles. In particular, where's it gone? There are. This is collide block with grid bounds. That's the boundary functions. But I think the same thing is going to happen when it's collide block with grid data. 0 for no collision, 99 for a collision. That's an unusual thing to say. 99. Pretty sure it wasn't 99, but 0 or 1. My guess is this bit's not working anymore because it's never going to be 0 or 1. It's always going to be what I just want to do is collision and FF, which will just add the value with 255, 256, which will give us 0 to 255 and ignore the high bits. And that. Let's see if that now fixes it. Nope, still did the same thing. So that's probably still valid logic. I think I shall, unless this collide block is not actually going to ever return those numbers now. So we have slide block. No, it's not that. So collide block. It returns collide block with grid bounds. That's the edges. And collide block with grid data. So out of interest, that's going to do things on the edge. Ooh, it's got stuck. That gets stuck. Ah. that's probably stuck inside this while loop, isn't it? Can I break? I can't. Right. Reload. Oh no, I've got a really tight loop there. Chrome is not even going to let me reload. Can I have a new tab? Yes. Oh, Chrome died as well. Let's bring that back up again. So let's not blindly change that for the minute. However, I think it's not doing anything at all. Excuse me, I didn't mean to tap the microphone there. See, what it's supposed to do is continue the rotation if a collision is going to occur. It's 1 or 2. What do my 1 or 2 rotations mean? It should have been for a left boundary collision or a right boundary collision. That's right. So the left boundary or right boundary collision explicitly was going to shift the block. Okay, it's going to shift it. And in fact, actually, probably the bug was the fact that I should have put that in there, shouldn't I? Let's do a while. Is that right? I'm nervous of this while loop now. I think it meant something obvious before. When you can, if you have a while it's a left or right boundary collision, you shift it left or right. So when we've got the grid bounds, collide with grid bounds, we're passing axis collision on each one, won't we? 3 with the bottom, yes. That's an interesting one, that. What happens where you rotate around the idea. What I wanted was to be able to push the blocks, because they don't necessarily rotate around within a confined space. See, it moves around. You shouldn't be able to rotate a block. Now we're getting the crash. Again, did I change it back? Yeah. So actually, that's probably been there for a while. I didn't actually save that, did I? Let's try again. The idea is that this should... see, I can't rotate it. So that particular bit of code was designed to allow me to rotate the block and have it shift left automatically. So it kind of does, rotates around a point sort of in the middle of this triangle here. That's where it's rotating around. But if I have it on the right hand edge and try and rotate 90 degrees, it won't let me, because this bit of code here won't let me do it. It only lets me rotate if there's no collision. And what I wanted was to shift the block in and out sideways in the event of a collision with the edges of the screen. I wonder if I just remove this logic, does that fix the issue with the overlapping? What was I? Very difficult to tell, because it's not an easy one to reproduce consistently. No, there we go. Actually, that was easy to reproduce. I think all I have to do is slide the block down to the point where it's below that area, and then just hit up and it jumps into place. Right. So it is easy to reproduce. That's a really good thing to do. Get a firm reproduce on the bug. So I'm going to write that down. So bug. hopefully I can remember from one day to the next. I should record a video of it as well, but I don't want to get too hung up on it. So it's nice. What's happening here is now it's slid. Sliding. What I want to do is grab myself a if rotate pressed self.collide block. I kind of want a breakpoint there. A bit more room. More space. Can I hide? Oh yeah, I can close that console. Lovely. So I want that. So this one collision should just come back at 0. That's right. Ooh. That's interesting. I got stuck. Missed it. Okay. Possibly to do with rotate pressed. Or, I'll tell you what it is. It's the fact that the breakpoint hits on the frame that I press the up button to cause the rotate to start. Then I let go of the key, but I do that while the debugger is in a breakpoint, so the game code doesn't get the up event, or something crazy like that. That's annoying. So the button is effectively held down, stuck. So let's go there. Oh, it slid. Right. Right. When you press up again, it triggers the point. So I want that position, don't I? And breakpoint there. Oh, you have to click back in. It's a case of getting the sequence correct. I'll certainly remember it going on to next week, or Thursday afternoon, yes. Thursday afternoon will be my next stream at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There we go, right. So for some reason, collision is 0 when it shouldn't be 0 because it should overlap. So I want the breakpoint one spot above. Right. I'm keen to just look into this bug. I'm probably not going to get a chance to actually fix it today, but I'm interested in it, and I'll go on for a little bit longer. So what we want there, just wait until it gets to the cell above it. There it is. Right. So let's dive into this collide block function. So get position, collide block with grid bounds. I don't think it's going to be that. Oh, hi, Bratishka_7. Good to see you. Did my hat flash? I'm not looking at the hat. I want to know if it flashed when people arrive. If you follow me, you'll get a rainbow effect and some fireworks on the screen as well. Do follow me on LiveCoding TV, liveedu.tv, I should say, so that you get notified when I go on streaming again. I do it regularly on a Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock UK time, and Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock UK time. Let me just see what the colour of the hat. Hat pulse. Is that pulse working? Yay, it's pulsing. I might have to up the brightness a little bit. Well, I've got the LED strip inside the hat. It's inside a little ring or a felt strip, but I put these coloured poppers on top above each LED. But they do dim the light a little bit. I might up the brightness. Let's see if we can colour. Let's have a nice pink. Here we go. Difficult to see that it's pink, but it is. Yeah, pink. Right, getting sidetracked by the hat. So collide with grid bounds, I'm pretty certain it's going to come back with 0. Yep, it's the collide with block. Collide block with grid data that's going to do the business. Hi Mac1, good to see you. Collision. So doing a bunch of calls. Assuming we're going to get collide cell at some point is going to come back non-zero. At least I hope it will. We should go through. The grid indices are 4, aren't they? Oh, no, there are only 2 grid indices. That's interesting. Grid index 33, 19. I wonder which ones there. The ones above. Yeah, so that didn't work. Okay, so let's try the next set of grid indices. So now we've got, okay, so we've got 5 and 19. They're definitely on the bottom row. I think it should be something that comes back with a non-zero. No, that's 0. Okay, what else are we doing? Grid indices length. Okay. Moving object cells. So we've got 4 times through this loop. What are we looking at now? We're looking at grid index 20. That's 20 and 34. So this is definitely on the top, above the block that's on the grid. Ooh, hi P1WLUS. Pilius. Pilus. Good to see it. And this next one, that's 0 as well. The last one through. So grid indices, what do we have here? Block cell. Oh, block cell -1. Where did block cell -1 come from? That doesn't sound right. Grid positions for block collision. Okay. So interestingly, I just realized something. I think it's not taking into account the movement down at this point, is it? The rotate was successful based on, if you look at the red lines, it only drops down once the block, it does go into that space, doesn't it? But if I rotate it at the last moment, so if I have the block this way and rotate it at the last moment, see what? I'm rotating it before the collision test area has jumped into the block below. So the collision rectangle isn't taking into account the potential rotation at this point in the code. It should be, because it does say it's got potential rotation and position. Potential get new rotation and position. Is this taken into account downward movement though, is it? It's not. It's the next frame it's going to drop down, which we handle the downward motion below this. Ooh, okay. Maybe I should put that above. Rotate the block through 90 degrees. Potential new rotation and position. Get new rotation and position. What does that do? Let's just dive into that. So this is just the rotating through 90. Working out the new rotation and position. Yeah. Because every time you press the key, it rotates through 90 degrees. But I'm not taking into account the Y position update that's going to occur in that frame. Right. I'm going to make a note of that, and we'll dig into that next time. It might be because the collision test when rotating line, I'll put that back in for now. So it's line, whatever line it is, view line numbers. There we are. Line 196. Right, and there's also another bug, which I should list here as well for completeness so I don't forget. And that's the one I introduced, which causes infinite loop. Let's just do to do fix. Do I want to do that? See, I think why am I putting 2 there? So I'm looking at that collision. Ah, this was, I know what I remember doing. This collision response was supposed to be -1, wasn't it? -1 for left or right boundary to the bottom boundary, but it's not. I then changed it. So there's a comment that's out of date. Oh, lovely. I've completely broken my code. Comment's out of date. And also, it's not quite true. So this one here is supposed to return left boundary, right boundary, bottom boundary. So it's, yeah. Ooh, I need to fix this now, because if I don't fix this, I'll totally forget again. 99 for a collision with an existing block in the grid. Well, that's potential. I don't even know if that's true anymore as well. I think it is. Collide block with grid data. Let's do that. 2. That's going to be 3. To match this one up here, 2 and 3. But they're also ORed with the axis collision. Let's just do this. So, here, 1 or 2. Want plus equals collision and FF -2. No, we don't want -2. We want -1 and +1. I think I'm looking for 1 for left boundary, 2 for right boundary. If it's 1, we want to add 1, which is fine. If it's 2, we want to subtract 1. I'm just going to cheat. So that's basically if it's 1, we go 1, if it's not, we go -1, move X. So that should fix that infinite loop that we had, and it shifts it out, it does. So I'm there, it shifts it to the right by 1 in order to allow it to continue rotation, and the same here, yes, so it subtly shifts to the back, but back to the left one, and then eventually stops rotating. That's not going to fix that though, because this particular bug is coming somewhere else. I'm pretty sure it's nothing to do with that. Okay. Also, I just want to have a quick check of let's put that here. I think, so you'll notice that when the blocks drop, if they're on the edge like that, they get pushed off to the right successfully, and I can rotate. But if a block drops down next to a horizontal line of blocks like this, so we're making a line down this edge here. It's a bit like the left edge of the grid area. I think this is going to, yeah, I can't rotate that. So the logic isn't the same, doesn't work the same in both cases, because the rotate kind of works, but until when it gets to a point where the rotate should push it to the right, like it does the side, it doesn't work, because that logic only handles colliding with the left and right edges of the grid and not anything else. So it's all kind of wrong. So I'm going to debug. So I fixed the infinite loop, but rotating a block when it's moving down next to a solid vertical stack, the rotation stops and cannot be continued until the block is moved left or right. Happens on the 2x1 blocks, I think. So I've got 2 bugs to look at, but that's a good point to stop, I think, because I've done my refactoring, I've looked at these bugs, I'm quite happy with them, I figure them out next time. Then we'll go on to, let's say, ongoing. So, fix bugs 1 and 2, and move on to stack clustering. Clustering/grouping. And date is the 21st of February. Wow. That's what I'm going to do next time. And oops, oh, that was me buying Sublime Text. I was after Chrome, wasn't I? There we go. So I think still pretty good. It's going to slide. Let's just do that. Sliding off. I'll be still a little clunky on the sliding and on the fast dropping. Might look at that at some point in the future. For now, I can live with it. Yeah, that one was nice and fast. Sometimes it goes slowly. Let's go and commit that, and then I'll call it a night. Oh, hi, I'm Marginal. Good to come see you. Good to see you. Okay, grid, game, and refactor. What did I do this time around? I was just investigating bug fixing, wasn't I? Yeah. Commit. fixing the while loop issue that I had when rotating next to the grid edge. That was, I remember writing that bit of code, and I also remember changing the underlying function which had the effect on the high level code. Would have, had I written some unit tests or something like that, that would have been picked up by those. As it is, we're kind of winging it on this one. Let's commit. Do I want to squash those before I commit to GitHub? Yeah. Squash commits. And remote branch push. Right, we're up to date. And they're all in GitHub. If anybody wants to check out the source code, you can. The link's on the livecoding.tv homepage. Thanks again for watching today. Much appreciated. I hope it was of some interest to you. And hopefully you like the hat. Do have a play. Let's have another hat, rainbow, I think. And follow me on LiveCoding TV if you like to be notified when I'm going to stream again, which will be Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. And yeah, that's still going. Lean in a little bit so you can see the rainbow effect. That works wirelessly as well, actually. The little box that I have controlling it can be plugged into one of those USB phone chargers that pumps out 2 amps. I can walk around with this thing, and it hooks up to the Wi-Fi network, and you can still control it, even though I'm not actually plugged into any wires. Right, that's me done for the evening. Thanks very much again for watching, and I shall see you soon. Cheerio, everybody.